You know that feeling when you finally splurge on a cheap fold-up massage table, only to find it wobbling every time you try to adjust the backrest, or the motor sputters and you end up spending more time fixing it than actually giving a treatment? I've been there, and the regret that follows is why I hesitate before buying any budget table. The question I keep asking myself is, does a higher-priced, electric lift model actually save me the hassle, or am I just paying for a fancy name? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first looked at the Saloniture professional electric lift massage table, I wasn't just drawn in by the glossy photos. I read a handful of forum threads where independent therapists complained about manual tables that required a whole arm strength workout to get the patient into a comfortable position. I also saw a few YouTube walkthroughs where people demonstrated the electric lift feature, and the consensus was that it can truly cut down setup time, but only if the mechanism is smooth and reliable. That's what I wanted to verify before I even thought about the price tag. Let's talk about the daily reality of using a massage table like this. Imagine you run a small mobile spa, hopping from clients' homes with a compact setup. You pull out the table, unfold the legs, and then you have to adjust the backrest for each client's specific needs. Some want a gentle incline, others need a near-flat surface for deep tissue work. With a manual crank, you're constantly fighting against the weight of the table and the added friction of the hydraulic system. The Saloniture's hands-free electric lift changes that routine. You press a button, and the backrest slides up or down in a controlled motion that feels almost buttery. In a real-world test, I timed the transition from flat to a 45-degree recline. It took about 3 seconds, and the movement was silent enough not to startle a client. That speed translates into a tighter schedule, especially if you have back-to-back appointments. Now, the table isn't just about the lift. The accessories headrest, face cradle, and bolster are all adjustable, which means you can cater to everything from facial treatments to prenatal massage without needing a second table. I tried the face cradle with a client who needed a gentle chin support for a facial massage, and the quick release mechanism let me swap it out in under a minute. The bolster, on the other hand, proved handy for a client with lower back pain. I could slide it into place to provide extra lumbar support, and it stayed firm throughout a 90-minute session. One of the biggest concerns people have when they see an electric table is durability. The Saloniture claims a strong, sturdy support and that the surface is oil and waterproof. In practice, the frame feels solid, the crossbars are thick steel, and there's no wobble when you lean on the edges. I spilled a bottle of essential oil on the tabletop during a treatment and wiped it away with a damp cloth. No staining, no sticky residue. That resistance to liquids is a real plus for anyone who uses oils, lotions, or even hot stones, because you won't have to worry about the table warping or the surface becoming slippery over time. However, no product is without its trade-offs. The electric motor draws a decent amount of power, so you need to make sure the outlet you're using can handle it. In a mobile setup, I found that plugging the table into a standard 110-volt socket worked fine, but the cord is a little on the short side, about 6 feet, so you have to plan where the outlet will be relative to where the table sits. Also, the lift mechanism, while smooth, does emit a faint hum when it's moving. It's not loud enough to be distracting, but in a very quiet, meditative setting, you might notice it. For most therapists, that's a minor annoyance compared to the time saved, but it's worth mentioning. Who should consider buying this table? If you're a licensed therapist who runs a private practice, a mobile spa, or even a fitness center that offers massage services, the electric lift can be a real efficiency booster. The adjustable accessories mean you won't need a separate table for facial work or prenatal sessions, which saves floor space and money in the long run. The sturdy, waterproof surface also appeals to anyone who uses a lot of liquids or hot tools. On the other hand, if you're an occasional hobbyist who only gives a few massages a month, the extra cost of the motor and the heavier frame might not be justified. A basic manual table could do the job, and you'd avoid the hassle of dealing with a power source and the extra weight when you need to transport it. Another practical angle is maintenance. The lift motor is sealed, so you don't have to worry about dust getting into gears, but it does mean you can't service it yourself. If something goes wrong, you'll need to rely on the manufacturer or a professional repair service, which,